Be a brief background on myself. Started ministry when I was 15 years old, so about 24 years ago. I've been a pastor in many capacities. I play keys and sax, so I've been a worship pastor, been a lead pastor, a youth pastor, a college pastor. Towards the end of my pastorate years, though, I got involved in a level 2 trauma center hospital, so I was a chaplain, on-call chaplain in San Angelo, Texas. Was also a full-time hospice chaplain in San Angelo, and really felt the call into the chaplaincy because I love being with people. I love walking alongside others. And I consider it a privilege and an honor in good times and bad times, even on your worst day, to step beside you and just be a small, non-anxious presence of hope to lift you up and say, we're going to get through this together. And consider it just a privilege to be on this side of the grass, to wake up and to serve in IACH and to get to be your chaplain. I am here. I think of the patients, but specifically as I'm learning my role at IACH, I'm thinking of the staff. I think of the burdens that the staff carry, the day in and day out of working in a hospital, the things that you carry on with and carry through, and then you're expected to show up at work the next day. And so I really feel like my role here is probably to staff first and then patient care. I think if we take care of staff, then our staff will take care of patients. I think we can all find ways to serve together, to walk together in commonalities. It is true that I wear a cross on my uniform, and I am a Christian, and I believe that Jesus is Lord. What is also true, though, is I realize that even within our ranks are many different belief structures, non-belief structures, and I think when you get into the conversations about identity and purpose and hardship and stress and trust and teamwork and moral injury and spiritual injury, that's where the chaplain lane really begins to develop. I think that's where we can start walking alongside. If I've counseled with one, I've counseled with 100. Chaplain, I've lost my purpose. Chaplain, I don't know what my purpose is. That could be a connection to a higher power. That could be a connection to God. But in true Army fashion, FM 7-22, it could also be a connection to inner self. What is it that you cling to, and can I pull that out that gets you through difficult moments and difficult times? So when I first joined the Army, I found the tension to be a lot higher. I was trained in specific vocabulary, specific wording, a specific way to look at spirituality. And in my tradition, right, spirituality is a sacredness. It's something that's other than me. It's a transcendence. And I lean into that. And I can lean into that with soldiers. And there are times when I do. But then there are also times that the tension has become less over the years of being in the military, in that the common themes can be the same. Because oftentimes when a chaplain's called, yes, there's some type of suffering involved. There's something that happened, and chaplain, we need you to step in and just be a presence for a moment. What I find is, regardless of spiritual tradition or religious tradition, that I can meet someone in their suffering. I can be present in suffering. I am a firm believer that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I think care is fundamental. I think as I reflect, it's interesting because I probably wouldn't have answered this way 5 years ago. I would have been like, oh, this is it. What I would offer, though, is as a chaplain, it's fun because I do have a church that endorses me. I do have a left and right of the cross that I can and can't do. There are some things that are in doctrine that I can do, and there are some things I can't. If I can't do that, though, the role of a chaplain in the Army is to provide, to figure out a way to call another chaplain, to meet the need that's present. And so what I would offer is, in your question of spirituality, it's a both and. So sometimes I do feel like, let me share a little bit of my faith with you, if that's appropriate, if it's something that you want. But I don't have to do that. I can just walk beside you and be present. I'll tell you where I find that I'm often different than many chaplains. Believe it or not, I love to laugh. I'm not one who takes myself too seriously. I've met some that just expect the chaplain to be so heavenly minded that they're no earthly good, and that's just not who I am. I also think I've met many who believe the chaplain's just there for the death moments. That's the only time the chaplain's going to show up. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not that chaplain either. I'm going to walk around because honestly, chaplains, at least in the Army's perspective, and I believe even in the hospital perspective, we gauge or we advise command on 4 different components. And those 4 different components are morale and morals, religion, and ethics. And so if it falls in those 4 categories, it's our job, it's our role to just be another ear for the commander so that we can advise the commander, hey, sir or ma'am, this is what I'm seeing from my lane. And whatever you want to do with it's what you want to do with it. But we're kind of just that presence. And the coolest thing about the chaplain, and I would offer to you in the hospital, I've tried to tell some staff, leverage me however you want. Because in the Army, or in IACH, chaplains have 100% confidentiality. I don't have to repeat anything. I can't be forced to repeat anything. But what I can do is when there's a concern that comes up, you can raise that concern with me, and I don't have to repeat your name. I just need to get a gauge of what's happening. And so I think the fun thing about being the chaplain is you get to be in the ebb and flow of life. You just get to be present with folks, and I consider that my probably primary role is a bridge between the most junior enlisted soldier to the highest in command, to every civilian that's in our hospital. I get to just be a part of your life, if you want me to. Don't have to be.